Peace in, folks. How you doing? Use the force. Positive mental attitude. You know how we do. So, I guess for many of you, it's New Year's Eve. I mean, you know, sure. I'm more of a fan of winter solstice, of all the natural cycles. I'll be honest with you. I'm more fussed by that. New Year's Eve on the Gregorian calendar isn't really very important to much apart from business and global organisation, which is great. But you know, the cycles that the sun goes through, that the moon goes through, that Earth goes through, connected to them, the energies it actually brings. I mean, first thing in the morning, there is tangible energy as the sun hits the fresh bit of Earth that has been under moonlight all night. And that's traceable shit, you know? So I'm more down with the cycles of the universe than I am with that of a calendar that I don't really care for too much. But hey, what do I know? I'm some crazy man that doesn't believe in Darwin's theory of evolution because, you know, I don't get it, obviously. I'm jesting. But, you know, I don't believe in Darwin's theory of evolution. It is flawed if you look into it all objectively. Like most things in science, like someone beautifully said the other day, nothing is definitive. But you can have a good picture of what we're looking at, or you can certainly have good ideas. And I think things that we're not really sure about, I don't think we should be teaching them like fact. When there's so many possibilities. I mean, you've only got to look at Göbekli Tepe, right? A site just off the border of Syria in Turkey that got buried, right? And the organic material they've been managed to trace, bear in mind this site was completely buried, the organic material they've traced was to around 12,000 years ago, when we were supposed to be cave dwelling simpletons, and this is a megalith site. So, no, I don't believe history. No, I don't believe a lot of the mainstream narrative taught to us through school and the education system, because it glorifies the history of the royals and the Romans, who were savage barbarians. And we're taught that everyone else is savage barbarians, and everyone's been conscripted into this fucking belief system of life of how we can't have anything that doesn't have leaders and some detrimental hierarchy system, because it's always been that way. No, the empires that kept eating up all the free people kept writing that shit. And maybe that has been there, right? So let's say that what I believe is possible as well isn't possible, right? And hasn't happened. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? This place is dead. The economy globally is crashing. We've got a fucking pandemic that ain't killing loads of people. You look into history, and when there was a pandemic, when there was a fucking plague, there's dead people up and down the street. Where's all the dead people at? Right, this video's being released across the internet of people going into hospitals because they're not busy. They're not overrun. This is not what it seems. We've got many good reasons for healthy change. You know, can see that come about. So I don't really care too much. Like, I'm fascinated by history, you know, like the full depth of it, you know, from the history of society to the history of banking. You know, I like to just say, like, the social structure of society and everything that makes it work. You know, I've dug into all of that. You know, the history of cultures, you know, empires, blah, 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 blah. It fascinates me. But really, what difference should it or does it really make? I could argue with someone over whether Darwin's theory is real or not. We can have that argument because it's not definitive. But who gives a shit? What's the point anyway? It's not going to fucking solve anything. It's good to be aware of where we come from. We can all look at the past and agree on what got us to here. A lot of domination, a lot of war. Anyone Anyone bored of it? Anyone bored of just going along with it? Towing the fucking line? Do you know what I mean? So we can create a healthy future, bearing in mind what got us to here. And we don't need to repeat the past. We don't need to argue over the shit that doesn't matter. Let's talk about what counts. How are we going to create active, healthy change? Unity, coming together, organising, creating new ideas. Right? Not leaving this to leaders and organisers and heads of groups. That's how shit got fucked anyway. We've all got to be the leader. We've all got to be the soldier. We've all got to be the researcher. We've all got to be the historian. We've all got to be thoughtful. And what's wrong with that? If it's going to lead to something that's better, I'm fucking down with the get down. Do you know what I mean? One person should not be left with the responsibility of many others. Certainly not with the psychology we've been taught. Do you know what I mean? Like fucking unhealthy competition, unhealthy judgment, unhealthy greed. These are all natural forces, but they've been lent on in an unhealthy way, which means we've emulated it, which emulates what the fucking powers wanted. So this is top-down structure, not bottom-up structure, right? That thing that the politicians talk about so proudly, grassroots movement. If we really did that, the politicians would be gutted they put the ideas in our heads in the first place. Right? Real movement from the people, by the people, to the people, for the people. Right? So that then means that what we want goes forward. We've just got to communicate more. We've just got to be more open to going, all right, we don't agree on these things. What can we come to regardless? Continue through a conversation and get to some actual meat of conversation where you can actually start to bounce ideas around. We're not all going to agree on a lot of things, and especially at the moment. You know, and that's why I think that acceptance of our differences, but the agreement for growth nonetheless, is important. And I think it would be handy if we can get something down on paper. I might write something out, send it to a load of people and see if they want to like add, cut it up, do stuff to it. You know, maybe like that. But I'm not looking to like get overly involved in groups, but I might have to. I always shy away from it. I've never been one for joining in with the group, you see, because I was always on the outskirts growing up. I was an outsider. I was outside the outside. Like, you know, I was the fat kid in my social group out of school, and, you know, picked on for that, but in a sort of friends jesting way, but still wasn't fun. But in school, I pretty much had no friends. There was a couple, but as soon as times got a bit hard, they flaked. So, you know, it's pretty much just me. So I'm not really, and you know, that got me into this whole way of being where if the crowd's going that way, I just go, let's have a little look over here. Right? So it's difficult for me to join in with groups. And also I don't want to, I'd rather like infuse some ideas. We all act into them. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm going to write something up and I'm going to send it to a few people. It's just the way it is. Maybe that's the best place to start. Right, I'm thinking about it, talking about it. Maybe other people are thinking about it and talking about it, but I'm not like seeing it and hearing it. Seeing and hearing a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, because obviously it's highly possible there's a lot of moves being made at the moment that, you know, me, you and anyone else know nothing about, because people are being secretive about it because they're probably worried about, you know, the police infesting and all this shit. That's going to happen. I think we've got to just get over that, accept it, right? Because any infiltrators, either, like, this is why I think a document that we can all that we can all agree on can in a way deaden the intruders, right? The informers, the people that are going to be dishonest, whether they're cops or not, whether they're military or not, whether they're government or not, right? Because there's people out there, unfortunately, in this day and age that just want to grass on people that are doing something that's against the law so that they can, you know, hold down their civil liberties and shit. But they just, you know. So I think, no, I think if we can get groups together, all moving on the same causes at the same times, on the same days, all over the country, we can shut down towns peacefully, not hurting anyone's business. People's businesses have been hurt enough. We don't want to be trashing stuff. That's people's stuff. Unless we happen to bombard Parliament and Number 10, there's no point in trashing anything. It belongs to people, right? And, you know, people reason off, oh, stuff's insured. What? You can't insure everything that's in someone's property. Someone might have something in their business property that has got high personal value to them. So, you know, but I do think mass non-compliance is a good idea. And I think we could achieve it really, you know, really well. So, you know, but, you know, I'm going to write a few things down and send it to a few people and see if something happens from that. I've just been saying stuff up until now, you know. I don't want to overstep my boundaries trying to push into people's groups and, you know, they've started and they're running and they've grown stuff. I don't, you know, and you know, there can be trust issues and all sorts. So I'm sort of mindful of, you know, not just trying to barge my way into places and be like, this is what we need to do. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't fucking know whether I'm right. I'd like more people to talk with about it. And I'm working towards that. You know, it's just, you know, anyone involved in like a movement for real change, for freedom, is probably going to be a little bit paranoid of new people. I know I am a bit, you know. I had some minor trust issues, but I don't know whether I'd say I've got more trust issues now. I've just definitely got more apprehension because I'm serious. So, you know, that's not good for the powers that be, is it? You know, the old crowns don't like people wearing new crowns, do they? We all should be wearing crowns, right? We should all be wearing crowns. So, look, we're almost up on that time, and I wanted to say to you, Alex Berenson on Joe Rogan. Seriously, man, they went in on COVID. Joe Rogan, Alex Berenson or something, episode 1582, right? Like, just, I mean, he's saying what I've heard and seen all over the place. It's just, you know, all laid out really nicely. He's quick and he's got all like his facts and his figures, and he's you know, he's engrossed in his research, so he's got like deep knowledge, you know, really worth checking out. And unfortunately we can't share fucking Spotify videos because that is a video to share, I'm telling you. It's powerful, and just watching him and Rogan go through it all, and no matter what I think about, you know, I don't think anyone's perfect. I've experienced finding new people that are informed and then being disappointed because they're not informed in all the ways that I am, but then they're informed in ways that I'm not. But I got pissed off because like Rogan was like denying that something's happening in the sky, and that put a fucking bee in my bonnet a bit. But I got over it because, let's face it, yesterday it turned out he didn't even know the extent of the debt-based economy and how that all worked. I was shocked. I was like, fuck me, Rogan doesn't actually know about the debt-based economy. Holy shit. So, you know, we've got to be a bit careful when we start judging people, you know, because we're not always right. You know, most of us are all right, really. So, we're up on that time, people. I'm going to say to you, use the force. Positive mental attitude. Be kind with your thoughts to yourselves like you would for others. Keep loving your hearts for yourselves and for others, and let's get it. Get what, John? Awareness, of course. Peace in.